So I'm finally doing this video, and I feel like I needed to do this video because a lot of people don't be giving Earl Sweatshirt credit. Now, mind you, if you've been watching my channel for the longest, I am a big Earl Sweatshirt fan. And once upon a time in my life, I used to be a big Odd Future fan. I used to be a fan of Tyler the Creator and all those people. But the person that stand out to me the most out of the whole Odd Future group, yeah, I like Tyler the Creator, yeah, I like Frank Ocean, yeah, I like Domo Genesis and all of them, but the person that stand out to me the most was Earl Sweatshirt. I loved his rapping abilities. I loved his subject matter, especially with depression, being young in this world and, losing people. Earl Sweatshirt, he lost his grandma, he lost his father, he lost his uncle. And to me, I listen to Earl Sweatshirt because I can relate to his music. Because, a person like me, like, bro, I'm 22 years old. I go through depression. I get backstabbed by a lot of people. I go through shit in life. I lost my mom and shit. Just types of shit. That I've went through in my life growing up. Dealing with depression, dealing with anxiety, dealing with being bullied, dealing with being rejected. Just all types of shit. I listen to Earl Sweatshirt's music because I can relate to music like that because I've been there where he been there. I'm not saying my experience is the same as Earl because I don't know Earl Sweatshirt personally. I'm just going off based on how I've been listening to his music, what he been talking about, and the type of details he paints a picture in his music. I can relate to that type of shit. And that's why I always, admire the man. I mean, I'm not worshiping the man on no, dick riding shit. Because a lot of people when they're fans of an artist, they tend to put them on a high pedestal. They tend to do this idol worshiping. I'm not that type of person. I'm a fan of a person's music. I'm not gonna go that far to like, idolize, worship them like they're gods. They're human beings just like me. But I fuck with this dude's music, man, and I feel like a lot of people don't be giving Earl Sweatshirt credit because he's not that mainstream artist. But I feel like to me, Earl Sweatshirt, he's really made an impact in hip hop, whether we want to hear it or not. Like ever since he dropped some rap songs, I've noticed lately a lot of albums, especially in the underground hip hop, and even some albums in the mainstream. They're sort of kind of mimicking and taking elements from some rap songs. Because ever since some rap songs dropped, I believe back in 2018, I've noticed lately a lot of albums have been kind of being influenced by some rap songs. With the whole lo-fi mixing, you know, Earl Sweatshirt rapping over distorted beats, and the mixing is kind of rough. And I want to say this in the video. I'm not trying to say Earl Sweatshirt was the first person that started the whole rough mixing, because you had artists like Wu-Tang Clan. When Wu-Tang Clan first came out with their music, they was known for having rough mixing. Their music wasn't mixed and mastered. And I'm pretty sure almost everybody in the 90s, because at that time in the 90s, they didn't have technology like they had today where you can be able to mix your music. Wu-Tang Clan, when they was making music, they wasn't rich. They was pretty broke. They came from the gutter. They came from the streets. And they didn't have the money and the resources, to mix their shit. They didn't have the money and resources to go to the studio and mix their shit properly and make sure they didn't have the technology back then compared to now. So lo-fi hip hop, even though people want to, try to make it seem like lo-fi hip hop, is a new trend. It's been around, because you had artists like Wu-Tang Clan, you had artists like Mobb Deep, A Tribe Called Quest, Jay Dilla, Nujabes, however you say his name, Nujabes. You've had artists in the past who sort of created, the lo-fi genre. It just at that time, it didn't have a name. And even in the 60s and 70s, with certain rock music, lo-fi, the lo-fi shit has been around. But it's just that now in today's age, people have gave it a name. They gave it a term. But, like I said, I'm not saying that Earl Sweatshirt created the genre, but I just feel like ever since some rap songs, you starting to see albums kind of mimic it. And I also want to say in the video, I'm not saying that Earl Sweatshirt was the only person that made it, because you had another group called the Slums, aka Mike, who's another rapper, that I fuck with too. Mike, I fuck with the Slums Crew. I fuck with Ade Hakeem. I think that's his name, Ade Hakeem, and artists like Navy Blue, and other artists. I'm not saying Earl Sweatshirt necessarily created the genre, because if anything, Mike really started that whole, that whole glitchy hip hop. I mean, and I'm not saying that Mike created the genre, because glitchy hip hop had been around, but like the way he perfected his style, because anybody can make glitchy hip hop, anybody can make glitchy experimental hip hop music. It's how you do it. I know groups like Def Grips. They've known for making glitchy, experimental noise type of music. Noise type of hip hop. But the thing with Mike, his style of glitchiness and experimental, like the way he does his style, it's different. I don't know how to explain it. It's so different that nobody in music has ever did a style like that. It's hard to explain, but like I said, there'll probably be another video where I would go into details. But back to the Earl Sweatshirt shit. Even though I'm not saying that Earl Sweatshirt created the genre, but he sort of popularized it. It's like with Kanye West. Kanye West, he didn't invent auto-tunes. When he dropped 808s and Heartbreaks, even though he wasn't the first person that did auto-tunes, you had artists like T-Pain and other artists in the past who did auto-tunes, but he sort of popularized it. And when 808s and Heartbreaks came out, you saw everybody in the mainstream hip-hop started emulating that sound, started doing auto-tunes, started doing 808s, even Drake. I know a lot of people are fans of Drake. When 808s and Heartbreaks dropped, that sort of influenced his music today, because I guarantee you, if 808s and Heartbreaks never came out, Drake's music would not be where it is today. That album shaped up his whole production. And that's what I feel what's going to happen in the future with Earl Sweatshirt, especially with some rap songs. I feel like in the future, I know a lot of people don't give Earl Sweatshirt credit, but I feel like in the near future, 10 years from now, when it's all said and done, don't be surprised you have a whole bunch of artists, whole bunch of groups or whoever, who get influenced by Earl Sweatshirt. Don't be surprised in the future they start emulating his sound. I know it's kind of too early to say, because some rap songs. When did some rap songs came out? Some rap songs came out in 2018, and then Feet of Clay. Earl Sweatshirt, he dropped the album Feet of Clay last year. I know it's kind of too early to say, because some rap songs, it hasn't been out in less than 2 years. But give it 10 years now. When this album hits its 10-year mark, you're gonna have so many damn artists who's going to be influenced by that album, who's going to be influenced by some rap songs, and they're going to start emulating that sound in their music. You're going to start seeing artists, when they make their albums, they're going to start having lo-fi mixing. They're going to start having their productions rough mixing. They're going to start having, they're going to start doing a lot of sampling, soulful sampling. Because if you listen to some rap songs, that album was literally a sample-based music, but done in a lo-fi, type of style, lo-fi, experimental type of style. So don't be fucking surprised in the near future when it's all said and done. Don't be surprised the future artists that's going to be coming before us, they're going to go back and listen to some rap songs, and they're going to implement that type of sound and that type of style. Now, I want to say this in the video, and I probably said this earlier. I'm not saying that Earl Sweatshirt created, that type of style. I'm not trying to say he created the whole rough mixing, because like I said, rough mixing has been around in hip hop. You've had artists who've made their music with rough mixing production. I'm not saying he created. I'm not saying he was the first person to create the shit. Because like I said, Mike, if anything, if we want to be technical, if you go back and listen to an artist named Mike, and you go back and listen to the Slums Crew, and you go back and listen to other artists, they sort of made that sound. They sort of made that sound before Earl. Even though Earl popularized it, but he didn't create it. Mike and the Slums Crew, they helped shape that sound. And they helped, and also not only did they help shape that sound in the underground scene, they also helped shaped the style of some rap songs. Because literally, some rap songs is literally an influence and a combination of Mike's style. So even though Earl didn't create it, even though Mike, helped influence, the sounds of some rap songs, but Earl Sweatshirt popularized it. So that's it for the video. I just thought I would give credit to Earl Sweatshirt, because a lot of motherfuckers don't be giving Earl Sweatshirt credit. A lot of people be sleeping on Earl. A lot of people be sleeping on albums like Doris, I Don't Like Shit, some rap songs, Feet of Clay, because Earl is not a mainstream artist. But I guarantee you in the next 10 years or years later, you're going to start seeing more artists start implementing that sound and implementing that style that Earl Sweatshirt did on some rap songs, Feet of Clay. Don't be surprised in the near future, you'll start seeing future artists start doing the lo-fi shit, the lo-fi, the lo-fi production, lo-fi beats and rough mixing. Don't be surprised in the future, you're going to start seeing artists. And I hate to break it to you, it's already happening now, especially in the underground scene. Now, as far as the mainstream scene, only time will tell. But that album that Earl Sweatshirt put out back in 2018, some rap songs, that album's gonna make an impact in 10 years. Mark what I say. And when that shit does, come back to this video. And I want to say one more thing before I end this video too. Earl Sweatshirt, I feel like, to me, Earl Sweatshirt, as because I know you guys, if you've been watching my channel, I make music as well. I make beats and stuff. I feel like in a way Earl Sweatshirt, he sort of kind of influenced my sound of production, because ever since some rap songs, ever since Feet of Clay, ever since, artists like Mike, artists like Gibbs, The Alchemist, Griselda, Makhami, ever since those artists, ever since I've discovered those artists, I've been influenced by their sound, and I've been implementing that type of sound in my beats. Because, I make beats as well. I make music, I produce, I sample, I make sample-based music, I make lo-fi, I make boom bap. I make a whole combinations of music. But I feel like ever since, some rap songs and albums like War in My Pen, Tears of Joy, and Weight of the World, and, Standing on the Corner, and all these different albums, I've been kind of using that type of sound and influence and style with my music, not necessarily copying these cats, but sort of kind of, being influenced and using that type of style in my music. So I just wanted to put that out there. But shout out to Earl Sweatshirt, you're dope. I don't think you're probably going to see this video, but you are a dope artist. And it's really sad that a lot of people don't give you credit. But me, as a small YouTube channel, I'm going to definitely give you credit, because you make dope music and you really made an impact in my life. Because like I said, I relate to your music because I deal with shit too. I go through shit. So, Earl Sweatshirt is definitely one of my favorite artists. And he definitely should get the credit he deserves. So this is your boy West Live signing out. Peace. Have a good one, and we're gone. Y'all have a good day.